Finally, the fight between Zoro and Kamazou has been animated, and I've wanted to do this video ever since they clashed in the manga. Now, this is a spoiler alert, so if you don't want to be spoiled on Kamazou's identity, if you're only watching the anime, then you might as well click off the video. But Kamazou, we find out, is actually Killer, who's Kid's right-hand man. So the two strongest of the Supernova's right-hand men clashed, and I want to do a breakdown of the actual fight and who I believe is stronger, because they were both handicapped in a way during the fight, Zoro's being a bit bigger than Killer's, but still. But with that out the way, my name is Potentia1 Unleashed, and we're going to figure out who's stronger, Zoro or Killer. So in the fight between Zoro and Killer, Zoro was able to beat Killer with a Purgatory Onigiri that I just have to say was really well animated by Toei. Probably watched it a dozen times within the last 8 hours since the episode dropped yesterday or this morning, whenever you guys Sunday is. But during the fight, both combatants were severely handicapped. Killer's handicap was he didn't have his arm sipes. They didn't have an official name for him, so that's why I just called him arm sipes. But he did have two sipes at his disposal, but they aren't what he's used to. Zoro, on the other hand, he didn't have Shui. I suck at pronouncing that name. One of his three swords, which is a handicap since he's a Sentoryu or three sword style fighter, and he was fighting two people at the time. And I will say, I know Zoro can use one sword style like a lion strike, and he has a lot of other one sword, two sword style attacks that he can use, but he's primarily three sword style fighter. With Zoro not really being serious, him and Killer, I'd say, were going back and forth, trading blows at each other until Gikumaru interfered, which caused Zoro losing his concentration, and Kamazou was able to stick a scythe in his shoulder. He then used that scythe as a final sword in his mouth, and with his first name three sword style attack, he was able to one-shot Kamazou, aka Killer. So who is stronger? Well, pre-time skip, Killer's bounty was 160 million berries, which was only 40 million more than Zoro's. Now, in the second half of the Grand Line in the New World, Killer's bounty is only 200 million berries, where Zoro is 120 million more in 320 million berries. I believe Zoro was stronger than Killer pre-time skip, and post, he's on a whole nother level compared to him. And let me explain why. Pre-time skip, Zoro near death fought against Kuma. He was able to dodge Kuma's attacks, which were stated to be at the speed of light. He was also able to leave a scratch on a metal harder than steel on Kuma's shoulder joint. And this was when Zoro was near death. Let me explain that again. He was near death doing all of this. And later on Saburi, where Zoro was fighting at 100%, but only at 50%, if that makes sense. So he was giving his all only at 50%, since he did take on Luffy's pain. He was able to cut through the steel of a pacifista with Ashura. Killer fought against a pacifista with Law and Kid, but not once did we see him cut through the metal of one, unlike Zoro, who was able to cut it with ease. Alright, now I'm not trying to call Killer weak or anything, because he was able to cut through some of Zoro's slash attacks, but comparing him to Zoro isn't possible. Zoro were 100%, had all three of his swords, and mind you, he also trained with the strongest swordsman in Mihawk. Is Killer standing a chance? No. Zoro used a makeshift sword with his shoulder being messed up severely, and still was able to take Killer out with one blow by a named three sword style attack. And if Gikumaru never interfered with their fight, Killer's not even getting a single hit on Zoro. And honestly, now that I think about it, Kamazou was struggling against a two sword Zoro, so he stands no chance against three sword Zoro, especially now that he's got Enma. Zoro with Enma, the Wado Ichimonji, and the Sendai Kadetsu, and maybe even we'll put the Shisui. I always mess that up, because, you know, if he's related to Ryuma, like people theorize, maybe he'll end up getting it back, and he'll trade that for the Sendai Kadetsu. Kietsu. I mess up on these Japanese names. I apologize, alright? But I do believe he's beating Killer mid, maybe even low diff, and I'm willing to argue with that with anyone, except if you write like me, like paragraphs and essays in the comments. then I probably won't read that comment because ain't nobody got time for that. But yeah, I don't think I made any mistakes here. Let me know what you guys think about Zoro versus Killer. How'd you guys like the fight, the animation, and what do you guys think how strong each other is? Do you think I made a correct assessment on that? Let me know in the comment section below. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out on a video. It's 6 a.m. when I'm doing this. Why? I don't know. I couldn't really sleep, and I just wanted to make this video. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. They'll be in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and don't forget to unleash your potential.